The second semi-finals await us here for the QuakeLive tournament at the Hendrixson Masters World Championships. It's Rapha versus Cypher, and joining me at the commentary booth, thank you for coming in, it is of course Brian DKT Flander. You've also been in the tournament representing North America. You're at the commentary booth, so it's still going well for you, the tournament, as far as I'm concerned. But you have someone that you're very knowledgeable about, which is of course Rapha. So how do you predict this game to go, looking at Rapha's point of view?
Rapha's a very disciplined player, so you're going to see probably not a lot of risks at the start, but if it's a close game towards the end, Rapha tends to open his game up a little bit, and you'll see a lot more risks, whereas normally Cypher is pretty freelance in his game. And it almost looks like he's goofing off sometimes, so it's going to be interesting to see these styles clash again.
Yeah, of course, they have clashed before. We were just talking about it, the Hendrixson Masters Dubai, where Rapha came out on top and Cypher finished second. But do you see a difference between Cypher at Hendrixson Masters Dubai and Cypher here at the World Finals?
I don't so much see a difference in Cypher as I do in Rapha. I think Rapha's really stepped up his game, if that's even possible. I think he's playing at a different level right now. He's like, the interview I had where he said he was steps ahead. I mean, he actually is steps ahead right now. And
how many steps?
I guess we'll say 2, but just to put an arbitrary number out there. But whereas Cypher, I think, he's really loose when he plays, and he always has been. But I think he's very underrated, like mentally. He's an extremely smart player, and I think it's going to be interesting to see at first, what they do as far as the initial spawns and the first attack. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Cypher's the type of player where, his strat almost depends on his aim, whereas if his aim seems really on, you'll see him really open up, and he tends to put on a show where he almost gets cocky with his aim. Whereas when it's not hitting as much and, he's not in control, you'll see him like instantly turn into a different player, where he's almost playing the angles, backing off, and just doing damage until he can find that one opportunity to take over.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to have to do to beat the American's best player here at the World Championships. He wasn't the American champion, though. He was actually defeated by Dehang, but he was considered the world champion before, with winning so many events. And that is, of course, who I am talking about is Rapha. And there you see 2 players out on stage, and already a handshake between them. And I'm sure there are no hard feelings like the game before. So let's meet the American player. This is Rapha Shane Hendrixson, coming from the team of SK Gaming and USA, and so far he's America's hope to move into the grand finals. For the boy he has to beat from Belarus, from Serious Gaming. His teammate just got knocked out into the third floor playoff. This is Cypher, 19 years old. As I mentioned, from the organization of Serious Gaming, which hosts the teammate of Rapha, and he's already, teammate of Avec. And I think Cypher is just, he seems a player that, even though he's really, really determined to win, he's always got a light-hearted, kind of likable feeling about him. And when he's on stage, when he's in interviews, he doesn't take himself too seriously. And he knows if stuff goes wrong in game, he does get angry, but he doesn't take that too seriously either. It won't kind of knock him out of that championship kind of mode, which we've seen him in a few times in his Quake career. The first map picked by Rapha from America is going to be DM13.
With DM13, a lot of the time with European style of play, they tend to sacrifice trying to go for a frag to maintain control, whereas Rapha, he will take that risk. On DM13 specifically, he will leave that item up just to go to a choke point. And it tends to throw people off because they expect him to go get that RA or to go get that Mega, but he leaves it because he knows that he has them trapped. So as far as play styles clashing, you're going to see Cypher pretty much maintaining control for the most part, really heavily rocket-based game, whereas Rapha's going to try to keep it close with rockets as well, but more so as a map control type of a positional.
And Rapha didn't have as much practice as he wanted, but he is going to be ready. Let's here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second semi-finals of the QuakeLive tournament at the Hendrixson Masters, and we are live. $20,000 up for grabs overall, $10,000 for the first place. But so far, we only have one person ready for the grand finals. Cypher just picked up the Mega. He's taken some shards as we follow him. And not too a pretty even start. Rapha trying to catch Cypher off guard, but that wasn't going to work out. And Cypher picks up a yellow, and I think he might put some pressure on the red armor. Hopefully Rapha will take it for his sake, and he does pick it up. So Rapha slightly out of position, but good pickup on the red. Anything you see here, Destruct?
It's sort of an interesting start that Cypher didn't choose to put more pressure on the red right there. I mean, I think he had him trapped, and I think right there you have to at least try to hit a couple rockets. Yeah,
and Cypher didn't want to drop for the Mega either, but he will most likely guarantee himself 2 yellows. But this, he goes for the red, and that's a really nice pickup for Cypher. Doing a little fake rocket jump, actually going to rocket jump up and now take the yellow that he previously left. So really good armor control here from Cypher. We see Rapha, though, did take the last Mega. If we switch over to Rapha, you can see that he's waiting for the armors that he needs. He knows that 100 armor probably isn't enough. He doesn't even have LG, so that's amazing that Cypher's been able to stop Rapha from getting the LG. And this is a really bad situation for Rapha because he's been pushed off Mega. He can take RA, but he still doesn't have the LG. But he's done great there to get in on the red. That was an impressive move. But Cypher controls that LG, and that's a big gun here. And Rapha's not able to kind of get a grip on here, the center map. You cannot go center map without an LG. And center map is like your middle point of the map where you can do anything from. Exactly. So Cypher's playing really well.
Yeah, so with the control of LG, Cypher's going to be able to control the 2 main power-ups, obviously, because the middle with the height advantage. As you can see here, he completely takes control of the entire map now. I mean, Rapha basically has nothing except for 50 armor. So I think you're going to see Cypher probably come in for an attack here after he gets his next Mega.
Yeah, Cypher did pick up the Mega. He's got LG, but he's a little bit low on rockets. Rapha does have that LG and also position on the map. So Cypher doesn't have a huge advantage. The next red will be really important. Rapha sets up to defend it. Here comes the LG battle, but Cypher's aim was a lot stronger, and Rapha is once again back to the drawing board. So Cypher looking a little bit more dominant here than Rapha. We'll have to see if what Rapha can bring to the table to kind of counter what Cypher is doing, but he hasn't been able to pull in a strong attack onto Cypher. Yeah. When and where do you think this attack is going to have to come from? What does he need?
He's going to have to catch him with the first rocket from like behind a door or an angle. I mean, if just because Cypher has control of that lightning gun, so Shane's going to have to get a first shot in order to do any type of damage.
And Rapha, I think he took a rocket there. Wasn't too bad. And Rapha, as you can see, has that 80 armor. Oh, he's just rocketed himself. He's in the lava. And I don't think Cypher knew, so he almost got away with his life. There comes the defensive rocket, and Rapha is going to live.
How does he get away?
And that was a big moment there for Rapha. But what was interesting, he actually put a lot of damage onto Cypher.
Yeah, he did.
So he's not in a really bad situation from doing so. But he's going to have a hard time. You can see that the 2 yellow armors are going to take a long time to spawn, so he's only got 75 armor to work with. He has to be very careful that Cypher doesn't find him in a bad situation.
Cypher's going to have to start putting more pressure on some of these YAs because he's basically letting Rapha free roam to these YAs and getting 100 armor at ease.